Good afternoon, family and friends. Bonjour, famille et amis. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace from someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. It's filled with moments, sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared and laughter through the years. A life well lived is a legacy of joy and pride and pleasure. A living, lasting memory our grateful hearts will treasure. On behalf of Michelle and Eric and the family, I welcome you this afternoon to celebrate and honor André's life. André passed away tragically on December 14th, 2020, at the very young age of 59 years old. This afternoon, we will remember André by sharing his life with music and sharing eulogies. The loss of someone we love dearly is always sad and overwhelming. But this is why sharing memories and sharing our support is so important. So we will listen to the first song called September, When September Ends. And at times during the song, you will notice there seems to be a moment of silence or just words. But if you have a chance to look at the video, will it be playing at the same time? No. If you have a chance to look at the video on YouTube at home, it's a very touching video. So let us listen in honor of André's life, When September Ends by Green Day.
Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Like my father's come to pass, 7 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are. As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends. When The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Like my father's come to pass. 20 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends.
I would like to extend my deepest sympathies to Michelle and Eric and their families, Ryan and Gabrielle, to Lincoln and Ava, who could not be with us here this afternoon, and Lila, who is here. To Sylvie, Andre's sister, to family and friends present here today, and to those who are joining us virtually, please accept my sincere condolences. Sometimes, not many words can soothe the pain. Not many gestures can relieve the hurt. Sometimes, not much can help. The tragic passing can be a shock, is a shock. The feeling of being overwhelmed by André's death is huge. The feeling of numbness overtakes you as you try to understand. You look for answers that are impossible to find answers to. But today, we will stand by the family and we will share our love and our support to help them and each other find the strength and the courage to continue living with André's memories. We will try to find peace and serenity in the words that we will share together. By the urns, there is a candle burning in memory of André. The flame flickers like the spark he lit in you. The wax melts away like moments in time till we meet again. The flame of the candle may blow out, but the flame of his love will always burn in your hearts. If you take the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, if you take the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power in an eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. When you combine these qualities, and when there is nothing more to add, your masterpiece is complete, and you can call him Dad. So at this time, I'll invite Michelle, followed by Eric, and then Sylvie. They will be sharing eulogies with us. Michelle?
I just want to say thank you for everyone coming today. Thank you. Okay. It's difficult to stand before you and attempt to honor my father in words. There aren't even words to describe how amazing my dad was and how deeply he's missed. I admired my dad. He was so smart and funny and loved a good laugh. He was kind-hearted, and he was always there for me. We used to do so much together. We would play cards until all hours of the night. My dad loved cards and he was so fun to play with. We spent hours playing Mario Party on the Wii and laughing. We would cook together a lot, and he would always cut the onions for me because he knew they made me cry. These are some of the best memories of my life. He was so incredibly smart, one of the smartest people I've ever known. I told him that days before he passed, and I'm so glad I did. There's so much more I would have said had I known I wouldn't be able to talk to him again. He would always tell my brother and I stories as kids of what future technology would look like. I remember Dad telling us about self-driving cars way before they were even a thing. He was so smart, and I loved hearing him talk about anything. It was always so intriguing. I looked forward to these talks because I learned so much from him. My dad was always so fun to be around and had the best laugh a person can have. When he laughed, you couldn't help but laugh and smile. I remember my dad singing at the top of his lungs in the car, specifically Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, just to make me laugh. And he always loved to inch the car forward a bit whenever we would reach for the handle. That never got old. He was so kind-hearted. He would help anyone who needed it, didn't matter what it was. He was an animal lover and spent his life rescuing animals and would do whatever he needed to help them. He had an amazing soul. I will always cherish the time we spent together. I wish there were words to describe just how incredible he was or how excruciatingly I miss him. I'm just thankful I was lucky enough to be his daughter. I appreciate you all coming out today to remember my dad and giving me the opportunity to share some stories with you. I know he would have been honored to know how many people loved him. Thanks.
Sharing a eulogy is one of the hardest things you can do because you're talking from the bottom of your heart about a person that you love and loved you. Eric?
My dad was a hardworking, funny, and kind man who would do anything for his kids. He would always make sure a task was done before relaxing and taught me those values. One role he took very seriously and took on with enthusiasm was as a teacher. He taught me many important things that I still hold dear every day. He had a love for animals and helped many cats and dogs with different rescue organizations. I learned so much from him as a result. Holy fuck. Not only about animals in general, but how good it was to help those that needed it, and how it would shape who you are. Being a father now, I realize he was trying to show me how to be the best version of myself by leading me down the paths that matter. With all the work he did with animals, he taught me compassion and empathy. He showed me why you can't simply turn a blind eye to injustice and suffering and hope it just goes away. My dad also showed me how important quality time with family was. When I was a teen, I really enjoyed fishing. So what did my dad do? Well, he bought a bass boat, of course. It was a Lund bass boat, and at the time, it was everything to us. To everybody else, it may have just been an aluminum hull with a motor attached. But to me and him, that's where we would begin discussing philosophy, life lessons, technology, and many other things. Sorry. It became this place where we could say anything and discuss it in detail. That was the beginning of our relationship, evolving from simple father-son to best friends as well. I'm not sure if he realized it at the time, but those relationships were some of my happiest memories of him. My dad and I also shared a love of video games, something my son and I share now. As I grew up and started working, it became harder and harder to go fishing, so we found other ways to spend time together. And we did that by playing World of Warcraft together in the evenings after work. We would spend almost every night for a period of a few years running dungeons or exploring the world, but I don't think what we were doing actually mattered to either of us. It was just about keeping connection strong and having shared experiences to bond over. It was really flattering to me because my dad always seemed to look up to me in that game. Always asked me for advice for a character build or how to beat a boss or get to a hard-to-reach area. It was a bit of a role reversal, and like everything else, it was a lesson. Personal relationships are fluid and dynamic. Nothing ever stays the same, but change is not necessarily bad. It's also when he taught me how to teach, which would become very important when I became a father. My dad also loved cooking, and he was very good at it. I would help him prepare meals, and cooking with him was always fun. He was always happy in the kitchen and would play music such as Aerosmith or Supertramp. Cooking with him taught me how to cook, but it also taught me how throwing passion into what you did improved the result 100-fold. He also taught me that with the right attitude and task, anything could be fun and fulfilling in unexpected ways. My dad had the ability to bring out the best in life no matter what he was doing. Cooking, repairs around the house, long drives, they could all be great experiences with the right perspective. This is one of the most important lessons I learned. Perspective and interpretation are everything. We shape and form our own happiness and how we decide to perceive things. As I got older still, we started having drinking nights. We would grab some beers, roll a couple joints, and hang out all night talking and catching up. It's these nights and conversations I'm always going to hold dearest and closest to my heart. We took those fishing discussions and took it to the next level. We would gush about upcoming science and tech, discuss life, show each other the latest music and TV shows that we were into, and just bond. Whenever I hear about big scientific breakthroughs or advances, I can't help but think of him and how cool he would have thought those things were. He was so excited about the James Webb Space Telescope. When I saw that first image online a few weeks back, that was pretty rough. I would have loved him to have seen that. It would have blown his mind. We would often discuss our favorite scientific theories, and he was a big believer in infinite parallel universes, and so am I. To comfort myself, I like to think that he's only gone in this universe, and there are an infinite number of us still hanging out like we used to. My dad's gone way too soon, and sometimes it feels unfair. I'll think bitterly to myself, how did Mick Jagger outlive my dad? Then I think of all the lessons he taught me, and he was preparing me for this among many other things. He successfully taught me how to be a good man and father, what to value and what to let go of, how we shaped our own realities in our head, and how much control we have over that, and how important it is to remember we create our own happiness. And then I'll think to myself, I had the best dad ever. What do I have to be bitter about? I had it better than so many others. It's not time to be bitter. It's time to remember everything he taught me and apply those things to my own son. To honor him, I'm going to make sure I pass those same lessons and values to my boy.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. Before we pass on the microphone to Sylvie, I want to share with you Ava's eulogy. She worked really, really hard at this, right, Lila? I think Ava worked really hard, and she printed some words. Great cooker, loved, smart, sweet, and kind. So I think the two eulogies should be printed, and you make a little scrapbook, and this would go with you earned on the Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'll ask Sylvie, André's sister, to share a eulogy with her.
All right. I think it's so, this is off script, but it's just what Eric and Michelle said. It comes up in every eulogy, right? Funny, smart, generous, devoted. These are words that just describe André to a T. You can tell how left he was. Try and get through this. Probably won't, but anyway. André was a smart cookie, just like Michelle and Eric said. But I wanted to make us laugh a little bit because I think André would have wanted that. So I don't know if some of you know, but he had a few little lapses in judgment, like checking for a fuel leak with a lighter in the boat. The boat just caught on fire. And here André was terrified that my dad would kill him. And he's like scooping water from the lake in the boat. You know? This was just so André. He tried to parachute off a roof. I'm not sure if it was the roof. I think it was the roof. But he also tried off the sand pit with a blanket. These were just, this was just André. But You could tell André was smart as soon as you talked to him. You were never bored when you were with André. He had a way of chatting with you that made you feel special. And even when his hearing wasn't so great, in the last little bit, you always felt heard. He was witty, he was entertaining, he was kind. He just made me laugh, and I'm sure it's the same. We hear it over and over. He just made us laugh every time he was with us. I still hear him talking to me, especially when I'm deep in thought. All morning, I could hear him talking, saying, he would think about this. It's like he can hear what I'm going through, and I can hear what he says, his funny quirks, his snappy remarks, his special outlook on life. I can't talk to him on the phone anymore, but I believe he's still here for us. I like to believe that anyways. André seemed to try to take not life or himself too seriously. And that's why he still makes me chuckle when I hear what he'd be saying, his remarks. So he's still, with me. André's love of animals, dogs, cats, birds, we heard that as well. It was so evident to those that knew him. Through the years, he had quite a menagerie. He had a way with animal. And I think it was André's energy. He was just so kind, so sincere, so warm that people and animals were drawn to him alike. Love of family, that was a no-brainer with André. Nothing was more important to André than his family. His kids, his grandkids, he was so proud of them all. I think if there's something that he misses from heaven, it's that he can't be here with them. I believe that he's also still watching over them, sharing in their joys, their sadness, their successes. Every time we talked on the phone, I could tell how proud of them he was, how much he loved them. He was loved by many as well. Me, my mom, my dad, his cousins, his aunts, his uncles. André was so easy to love. And I know he loved us right back. Some of the times that I remember fondly are those we got to share with family at the cottage. It was a place where we could all gather without distractions. We could laugh, we could talk, we could share. André and I were 8 years apart, so I was his pesky little sister, and I'm sure at times he felt that way a lot. But I remember those years fondly. We were singing Rocky Horror Picture Show tunes. We were playing the organ together. We'd water ski. He was amazing at it. He had even tried out for a show at Lac Simon, to water ski. So he taught me how to water ski. And even though my childhood nickname for André was Ugly, it didn't bother me because it made me feel close to him. It sounds weird, but if you know André, you knew that he loved to tease. If he cared, he teased, he laughed, he joked with you. So that's what I remember growing up with André, someone who loved to be happy and wanted you to be happy. He called me V, by the way, after I wasn't still ugly. I know that many of you have fond memories of André as well, playing cards, water skiing, skidooing, playing in the woods, playing at the sandpit, the plage publique, riding that yellow moped, just chatting, playing games, playing cards, like they said. André was an avid card player, boating, fishing. André he enjoyed life. He was always making us laugh. Many of those summers at the cottage involved hanging out with the cousins, the aunts that either had cottages there or came to visit with us. So family time at the cottage is something precious that I'm extremely grateful for. André moved out west for a while, got to know some of our family out there better. And while he was out there, I got to go to Edmonton, spend time with him. And I also got to spend a summer with him and Sue and Eric and Michelle when they were this big in Burlington. And those are memories I'll cherish because I got to live with him and good memories. I think I speak for everyone in the family when I say André was a special guy. His sense of humor, his integrity is what defined him for me. No matter what life threw at him, he could laugh at it. He was always nice to people, made them feel good about themselves. He was an inspiration to me. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I'm not, you can tell. André worked hard all his life. He did everything with 100% devotion, even cement walls at the cottage, which is not something he loved, but he did it anyway. I don't remember André complaining about anything. He had an outlook on life that was just so inspiring. When I look at pictures of André, there's some that just scream, that's the André I remember. I know, you know all what I mean. He had this smile, you could almost hear him laughing through the pictures. André lived his life fully. He loved to laugh, loved to make us laugh. It was one of his many gifts. He was the last one in my family, my birth family, my mom, my dad, and I can't tell you how much I miss talking with him on our phone calls to catch up. we could easily talk for an hour and a half. Poor Andre, I'm sure he must have had, a lot of better things to do, but he never let on. He was my big brother, and I admired him so much. You couldn't ask for a nicer, smarter, funnier guy. He left this world way too young, and I miss him deeply.
Let's take a moment of silence in honor of André. André's life has touched many of you in many ways. His passing is a reminder of the value of life and its fragility. It is always a shock when a life is taken away, unexpectedly at that. It's not like a person who has been suffering with cancer for many years and passes away. It's not like a person who's 99 years old and passes away from old age. We cannot explain or understand or find the answers why tragic events happen. A variety of emotions will be very present in your lives and has been for the past 2 years. From sadness to loneliness to guilt to anger to inconsolable grief to many more emotions that you can't even put your finger on. And some days all you do is you feel all these emotions at the same time. And in hindsight, we can try to think, I should have done this, we could have done that. I should have said this, we should have done that. And sometimes, if we had a crystal ball, maybe life would be easier. But sometimes, it's best not to see what the crystal ball has reserved for us. You will need patience and caring and understanding in order to deal with the grief that follows the passing of your loved one. And you will need encouragement, support, and guidance to help you move into the future. And for this, you may rely on family and friends and your own strength. Help each other find serenity and some peace and love so you can face the new reality. Something important is we always have compassion for others. It is very hard to have compassion for ourselves. Work on that. Work on having compassion for yourself. It is okay. André's life, which was filled with love, will eventually give way to silence and peace and calmness. And may tomorrow, Easter Day, be the beginning of another step in the process. André will forever, ever, ever live in your hearts, and you will always continue to celebrate his life. What if a brilliant twinkling star that brings the dark night sky to life is the window looking out of heaven? And at the very moment when you're wishing on that star, hoping that André is happy, safe, and free, I know André is looking at the same star from the other side, making the same wish for you, and sending you all his love. I'd like to share a poem. Remember me with smiles and tears for all the joy through all the years. Recall the closeness that was ours, a love as sweet as fragrant flowers. Try not to dwell on thoughts that cause you pain. We'll see each other once again. I am at peace, try to believe. It was my time, I had to leave. But what a view I have from here. I see your face and I feel you near. I follow you throughout the day, and you're not alone along the way. On behalf of the family, I would like to thank you for your presence here this afternoon and those who have joined us virtually. Your kind words, your warm embraces will help and support the family with the grieving process. After the last song, the family cordially invites you to stay here at Heritage Complex to share a lunch with them, where you can continue to share good memories. And I hope that when you leave here shortly, it is with a true feeling of having shared something special for André. And I do believe he has heard every word this afternoon, and he's looking down at you. And I don't know what he's saying, what he's thinking, but I'm sure you can feel his presence. And the last song that we will listen is entitled In My Life, and it is a very special song. It is a song that Michelle and her dad shared and danced at her wedding. So let's reflect on André's memories.